All right, boys and girls, shave number 601 with the Nacet blade. Here's my counter card. The razor is, as usual for this month, a timeless open comb stainless steel 68 gap. Brush is the Semogue Owners Club with the Taj handle. The soap and splash and cologne Chisel Face Midnight Stag. The blade. I'll have to look and see the glare. I wonder if it's making it so you can see the little indentions. Okay, what if I turn it to the side here? There should be an N right up here, and then a 1 down here. And then you can see up in this corner the curve of the blade from when I dropped it a while back. For a long time I thought it was use number 225, but in research I discovered I was off by 1. I think it was use number 226. I have soaked the brush longer prior to this shave than I did prior to my most recent shave, the number 600. My thought is, I just loaded for 8 swirls in the soap last time, and I went from there to my face, and the bristles had a little bit of springiness to them. They shot some of the lather around on my shirt, and I mean that's not really a big deal, but it almost made me think that was a shorter soak time. Could that be different? Also, the 8 seconds didn't seem to be enough. It was, as I was working, it was okay on this cheek, but then when I moved across, it didn't seem to be quite enough to keep going. And with that flicking aspect that was going on, it just didn't really seem to be a good match. So, if we change only one variable, soak time, instead of just maybe 4 minutes of soak time, we've given this brush, this particular case, it is half an hour, I think, of soak time, which should be plenty. I think maybe 10 or 15 minutes might be the maximum. That beyond that, you're just not going to see any other benefit because it will be saturated as much as it will ever be at that point. The bristles in the boar hair brush actually absorb the water, unlike badger. The badger, the tips do if it's a finest badger, and badger absorbs just a tiny bit. Horse, kind of the same thing. All right, just only absorbing a little bit. But boar, they absorb quite a lot, and the brush bristles change so much depending on whether they're dry or wet and or soaked. All right, so let's just see if the soak time gives me a different shave. Let me get my face wet. And now let's do those 8 swirls. Last time I did give it about that many shakes, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did the same thing where I drained the water out into the bowl just to kind of conserve that, because that water does have some soap mixed in that will come in handy during the shave. Let's see what happens here. Does it flick the lather like it did before? It's definitely, yeah, I think it is. Okay, if I go in and kind of dab in that slurry in there, is that gonna, okay, that woke it up a little bit more. But see, that's still not enough. Okay, so 8 swirls at this point. Not enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. 12 swirls total. Which is funny because I did 10 swirls, I don't know, what, a week ago? And it was plenty. So I guess that answered that question. It was not because of the soak time difference. It was just, you know, not enough soap was picked up into the brush from the soap tub. I liked yesterday how I kept working a little bit on my face instead of sticking with the pure slurry lather method where I, you know, you can shave with that slurry. You know, and I'll do that again today. Oh, and you can see that even though it does look nice on my face, we've got a lot of opaque lather. We've still got a lot of water in the brush. Now that's going to come in handy later because nice creamy lather there. It's going to come in handy later as we need that at other passes in the shave. It's time to trim up my goatee. It's looking a little long. Very good. And see that touch there, even on this side where I started things. Nice residual slickness. When I was working with the bowl lather and getting it to kind of a good point before putting on my face, I don't get that. I think that somehow the slurry lather method puts a layer of the soap on my skin, and then the water that's elsewhere in the brush will eventually, you know, work with it and produce something that I want. But that residual slickness is created by just that light little bit of soap that's on your skin. That's my best guess as to what's going on and why the feel of the slickness is so different. With other soaps, it doesn't seem to be as much of an issue. Not nearly the dichotomy of the feel of the lather between the different procedure changes. Nice quick passes. A little bit of water. And remember, I do quick passes because I've done this a lot. You, especially if you're just starting out, take your time and do it right. Speed will come with practice. "12 swirls total gave me a nice amount. If you're trying to conserve soap, this might be just the right amount, because this is going to be a nice, slick, protective lather here, but not excessive amounts of soap used. So if you have that, especially if you have purchased a special soap that's maybe at a higher price, or one that has gone out of production and you want to get as many uses out of that as you can, then this method might be a good way. And this type of arrangement where I count the swirls, that might help you to keep your soap around and get as many shaves out of it as you can. And that's good. Yeah. And of course, you can get some more slickness by spreading around a little bit of lather remnant, you know. All right. We'll do the splash and the cologne in a second. I'm going to take a break and clean up my gear. If I would have loaded more soap, had more swirls on the tub there than just the 12, I may have needed to add more water to the lather by dipping my brush tips in some water, for instance, at that third pass level. But both the water usage and the soap that was in the brush, its usage, were kind of declining and coming together at the same point. And so if I had more soap, then they may not have matched up, and I may have had to add a little bit more water, or else I would have faced a little bit more dry of a lather. But because I worked today off of the amount of water that was just in the brush itself, I didn't add any more, because I loaded only as much as I did, those 12 swirls, that happened to match the water that was in the brush. And so one way to strop your brush is I have my towel, hand towel, doubled over this towel bar, and then I hold the two ends, and so then see I can provide a little bit of pull, and then I can strop up and down my brush onto the towel, and that's convenient. Instead of having to hold the towel and just try to work it and then reposition to another location, something like that. And then I'll rotate the brush and then strop in 90 degrees to that, so that we get, stropping this way first, then I'll turn the brush, strop it like that. So now it's time for the Midnight Stag Splash. Hey, I just noticed that Barrister and Man is offering Salween and their Fougere Gothique. On the website now. I think it's in a pre-order stage. And Salween is spelled Sam Hain, but it's kind of a Celtic pronunciation or something, so that's why it's so different, the way it's spelled versus sounds. But I'm just going to call it Sam Hain from now on, because that is a little bit easier to remember. It appears that Will got together with Courtney and Stephen over at Dogwood Handcrafts and Southern Witchcrafts, and got a hold of their soap recipe, or had them make a special batch. I don't know exactly the details. I think there's an email sitting in my inbox to tell me what the details are. But they're offering this package, Will is, and I think basically he's doing the packaging, but the product is theirs. He didn't steal anything from them at all. He's working with them because, as we know, Southern Witchcrafts stopped producing products a little while back because they wanted to move on to other things. And this hobby, this producing shaving products, it takes up a lot of time for those artisans who do that, and they couldn't do both. The new thing they wanted to do, and they couldn't keep their foot in both boats, both the dock and the boat at the same time. So they had to pick one. But Oh man, the Samhain, the Samhain is a wonderful, wonderful fall scent. It's not really spooky. Oh, it's just, and I don't like pumpkin very much, but this doesn't trip my pumpkin trigger. Because I think, and if I'm recalling correctly, if you look at the description and you see it's pumpkin, then you'll know what I'm talking about here, that I'm remembering right. But the pumpkin's there, but all those autumnal spices are also there. Man, what a great scent. It really is. And I assume that it's the Southern Witchcraft's vegan base, but Will's page did say it was vegan. So I assume it's their base. But even if he just took the fragrance oil and put it in a vegan base that he knows about, I mean, you can't go wrong in either scenario. And then the Fougere Gothique is just a tremendous scent, but it's a lot more kind of harsh and spooky than the Samhain is. So go to barristerandman.com. Man has two N's. And if you're interested in Halloween scents, they have some packages. And you pre-order everything. They have where you can just buy the two soaps. You just buy them individually. You can buy both at the same time at a bundle price and save a few dollars. You can buy a set, which in America, when we say a soap set, we mean the soap and the aftershave splash or the aftershave balm, whichever comes with it by default. So that's what we mean when we say a set. In our particular, the wet shaving area of the Reddit/internet, if we say the trifecta, we mean the soap, the splash, and the EDT or the cologne. So that's the trifecta. You can is there something else? There was a maximum one that was $300 or something where you got for both the Samhain and the Fougere Gothique, you got the soaps, the splashes, the colognes. Can't remember if there was something else. There may have been one other product, but then you also got this razor from Proof. It's an aluminum razor. It's got a pivoting head design, and it uses a single half blade of the DE blades. I have never tried one of those before. It's a little on the pricey side. I don't know if I want to try one. Maybe I'll see if a friend has one to borrow, and then I can get it back to him after I try it. But that particular razor has the Hallows. See, I've been saying Fougere Gothique, but I believe it's actually Hallows and not Fougere Gothique. So thank you that I have corrected myself. Anyway, check his website. You'll know for sure. But they're both kind of spooky type scents. I like Hallows a lot. I like Fougere Gothique also. And the Hallows, the original Hallows skull, kind of a simplified, stylized skull, has been printed on the black anodized aluminum razor. That's from the Proof Razor Company or whatever their official name is. So check that out if you like autumnal or Halloween type scents. I can highly recommend both scent profiles, if I'm remembering incorrectly, and it's Fougere Gothique, or if it's the Hallows, and then you got the Samhain. All three of those are amazing scents, and I recommend them all very highly. And the performance is great across the board also. That is today's shave. So the 8 swirls just still did not work. It just took a few more. So that's interesting. And now we can put on the cologne. I've been having my watch on lately. And I'm going to take it off before I put on the cologne because it just kind of gets in the way. Midnight Stag. All right. Well, it is coming to the time where we just have a few more days in August. I'm still living in amongst a mess here in my house. Last night I made another trip to move things. And so it's kind of at this point, we've already done the U-Haul, the big truck. And so now it's going back for small remnants and cleaning up, that sort of thing. Got a few more trips to make, I think. So still busy, but most of the stuff is here. It's just a matter of sometimes of trying to find it, right? What box did I put that in? I think we're good for today. Thanks so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves 601 this time. Take care now. Good night.